Something is haunting the lobby of England's Brighton Museum, according to those who work there. This creepy moment, caught on CCTV video at 3 AM, could be the paranormal proof they need to be taken seriously. The camera captures a bright light and then a souvenir mysteriously falls to the ground with no one near. Kind of like a ghost, move the object, employees would later say. I think the quote-unquote mysterious light could be a glass object reflecting light as it falls over. Maybe the shelf is a little unlevel. Maybe an employee or a visitor put it too close to the edge. I am 50-50 on this one, and will be sure to keep an eye out for other paranormal events caught on camera at this possibly haunted museum. What do you expect to encounter inside a morgue but the past away? Published by Kay in September of 2016, this exploration of a haunted abandoned morgue turns cold. Kay and crew arrive at the morgue at night, wandering around it and find a way in. They enter through a piece of metal exterior that has been ripped off. While exploring, they come across the beds where the people are examined.
Oh my god, that's the deathbeds. Wait, mate. That's fucking the deathbeds.
They also spot a creepy message on the wall that reads, "You're not supposed to be here. We will get you." In another room, dripping in red liquid, is the word beware.
Why does it say beware? What the is this? What?
Beware of what? Let's see. Down a hallway, they find a mattress on the floor. Apparently, someone is calling this mortuary home.
Is that a microwave here?
They then come across what might be the crematorium, or maybe just where the passed on are kept waiting.
Oh my god, mate, what are these doors? What is kept in there?
At one point, when they've just entered another room, one of the crew turns quickly around and pushes his friends back the other way. That's when they hurry out of the morgue. Kay explains that what he saw in the last room was the shadow of a man on the floor. When he entered, the man got up and glass started cracking. Was it the man whose bed they saw in the hallway? Or was this a ghost that was about to cause true havoc? A YouTuber named Savage Mister seems to be able to control the elements with his mind, and this creepy video has some viewers losing theirs in return. Savage Mister waves to the sky, and in that moment a streak of sideways lightning appears to follow his commands. Although it looks like he has superhuman powers, this was actually a total accident. Savage Mister is in the middle of a conversation with his brother, and he was talking with his hands when this once-in-a-lifetime coincidence happened and really shocked them both. This girl hears a loud commotion in her sister's room and grows concerned. When she goes to check on her sibling, something huge hits the ground on the other side. Then the door to her sister's room seems to close all by itself.
Hello?
The scared girl tries to stand outside of the room for some time and simply listens. Finally, she musters enough courage to try again, and this is what she sees waiting for her. Her sister sits stiffly in bed staring ahead while creepy music plays from nowhere. Her room is completely wrecked and she does not respond or say anything at all. Well, I guess this video could be some sort of behavioral problem or even a prank. My gut instinct tells me that this was most likely a real possession. A YouTuber named Jude the Cool Dude is making a video tour of his house when he discovers something new on the 3rd floor.
Wait, is that a door?
Concealed behind a hidden wall panel is a cramped room with extremely small furniture, including a tiny table with a single candle for light. Terror spreads across Jude as it dawns upon him that he could very well be standing in the hiding spot of an intruder who has been living here for some time. It even looks like whoever inhabited this place may have rerouted the wiring to divert power to this part of the house. It's almost impossible to tell if if this video was staged or legitimate, but with all of the stories I've read about people living in houses for years without being discovered, I really wouldn't be surprised if this was real. Either way, Jude decides to quietly close the trapdoor and never mention this find again. Basements are where hidden secrets are kept in the dark, old memories and keepsakes of things that are too scary for the surface and would get you some strange looks. Basements often serve as a place for troubled minds to explore the scariest facets of the human imagination. A YouTuber named Jonathan Wickholm goes exploring the basement of his girlfriend's apartment building because it's creepy and old, and he suspects scary stuff is down there. He's not wrong.
So James agreed. The moment you walk in this room, it's creepy. It makes no sense. Over by James, there's a random stool and a microwave. Is it plugged in? No. Okay. So it gets weirder.
In the center of the room is a large cedarwood box. On the outside is a door that unlocks only from the outside. Sticking out the top of the mysterious nondescript box is a pipe for giving someone air, and when he opens it,
this is what it is. It is a small room with chairs. It's nothing else.
he finds a small hidden room where someone can be kept secret down here without anyone going down to find them for a long time. What was being kept down here? I fear I already know the answer.
James, look at this. James, look at this. There's scratch marks. There are legit scratch marks. There are f***ing scratch marks.
Drilled into the ceiling of the secret prison place are holes that look like they were put there for further ventilation. The Borghavent House, built in 1876 in Sweden, is said to be one of the most haunted places in the world. Scratching, knocking, and screaming comes from the walls, not to mention shadow figures and objects moved by a ghost. The first reports of paranormal activity were in 1927, and they've continued ever since. Dima Maslenikov wants to document any and all paranormal activity on camera. It does not take long. The house is still when he hears a weird noise. It sounds like an EVP of a distant scream. He gets up and looks in the room. Two knocks, both coming from this door. He sets up a toy for a ghost to play with that also has a motion sensor.
Честно говоря, вот про эту комнату я толком ничего не знаю. И про нее, по-моему...
Not only does the motion detector fall off, it continues to stay on for a full 3 seconds. When he turns around, something was in the room with him, a paranormal entity. There wasn't anyone in the room. The bear falls over on its own. Next, he finds an infamous old rocking chair that's said to be the center of a lot of paranormal activity. He takes a flash Polaroid and notices a large dark shadow hanging over it, a shadow that does not look like it was cast by the chair because it's in front. He tries to recreate the lighting conditions and is unable to make the same round shadow appear. No matter how many pictures he takes, it never comes close to being like this one. This does seem to indicate that it's a shadow figure caught on camera in the first photo. The investigator summons his courage and goes exploring the second floor of the Borghavent House. As he's watching the ceiling light moving by itself, a ghost pushes him. Watch for the camera blur as it walks by. That's when he notices a heavy piece of furniture has been pushed in front of a door. Someone was trying to keep something from getting out of its room. He moves the barricade and looks inside. It's an attic space with a small table for someone small to eat at by themselves. The space is empty. Whatever they were trying to keep inside has already left, so the legend spoke of shadow people screaming and knocking from the walls and objects moving by themselves. It's hard to believe it, but he really does seem to have encountered all of the creepy stuff in one visit, and it all somehow seems real. Caitlin Speaks published this video in 2013. In the description, he writes, "So I wanted to drop a skit, but something paranormal happened in my house last week, and I'm not talking about a little shadow. In the morning, when my family was either out or sleeping, a garbage bin in one of the rooms of my house got thrown out at my dog, and we caught it on camera. This is completely real." Kaylin says this isn't a prank. So let's take a look at what happened.
She'd have to be behind it and hit her with her nose or her paws if she could somehow. But she's not. She's right beside it. And look, she's running. She's hauling out of the office. She's scared.
Kaylin shows the security footage of the downstairs hallway. He says no one was on this first floor at the time. In the clip, the dog runs in, sliding under a hallway table, while a small garbage bin with garbage in it slides in alongside her. Then the dog darts into another room. Kaylin thought initially that the dog had just been greedily eating from the trash, and then suddenly got spooked by something and darted off, knocking the trash bin over and taking it with her for a short distance. Then he explains why he thought differently after reanalyzing the video. He says in order for the bin to be launched that far with such force, the dog would have had to hit it, and in order to hit it, she would have to be behind it, but she was running beside it at the beginning of the clip. The bin is also rolling for an inordinate amount of time after hitting the wall for 1 or 2 minutes, according to Kaylin, while the dog watches it in fright from the hallway. At some points, the roll of the bin slows, and then it speeds up again. Is there a poltergeist controlling the trash bin? We can only guess. A YouTuber named Crossover likes to play basketball, but we all know that's not why he's on this list. He lives in a house on the edge of some woods that are known to be haunted, at least if you believe what's about to happen to him next. Crossover goes inside of his dad's workshop to talk more about his plans for the channel.
You know, I have had channels in the past, but you know, I kind of scrapped them. They were a little bit weird, and I didn't even know what was going on.
And behind him, one of his dad's tools rolls off the shelf. Crossover wonders how the object moves all by itself.
Get over here.
And a scary voice tells Crossover to come back as soon as he goes off camera. He thinks this is a ghost EVP because he says he was in the workshop alone. However, the voice could have been edited and someone could have been hiding under the shelf to make the object look like it was pushed by a ghost. An abandoned mansion in Houston, Texas appears as the epicenter of paranormal activity in this clip, posted to YouTube by Hugo Blog in August of 2016. The shell of a mansion looks creepy enough on the outside, but then they enter. Wandering around the house in the darkness, at some point, the group captures on video what appears to be a ghostly young girl. They apparently didn't see her in real time, as they don't race from the house or cry out in fear. This image was only discovered after playing back the footage. Would you have the guts to enter here? Cross the threshold and find out. Final video is about as close as it gets. First, a piece of manufacturing equipment malfunctions and causes a pileup of white-hot steel material. The pressure around the blockage continues to build until coils of unformatted steel shoot across the factory floor. The first worker sees the carnage and runs in a zigzag pattern to escape. The second worker, a supervisor from the looks of his clean white shirt, has his back turned and doesn't notice anything until it's too late to react. A rope of liquid steel stops short at his feet and piles all around him. He escapes only to have the machinery behind him burst apart and send more rivets of steel his way. The equipment is shut off and more of the substance falls to the exact spot where he was just standing. This is the last thing you would want to see in the middle of the road at night. Published to YouTube by Christian Garcia in October of 2017. This clip is titled "Witch on the Road." The footage shows a motorcyclist driving on dirt roads in the middle of the night. After a time, he comes across a person sitting on the side of the road in the darkness. The person is wearing blue pants, a white shirt, and has gray hair. She doesn't look up, even with the headlights of the motorcycle spotlighting her. The cyclist takes off, but then decides to turn around again. They approach the witch, say hello, and ask what her name is. When they receive no real response,
Hola, señora.
they drive off into the night, leaving this person, or witch as they say, in the darkness on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. What would you do in just such a situation? YouTuber Mario Batanker2 writes in the comments, "Ghost or non-ghost, it's always a little disquieting if not disturbing. A being in a place so far dark and alone. I think this video generates more sensations than many super elaborate videos that come up in such situations. What sensations do you feel? I feel terrified." A Russian police officer is roaming the snowy countryside when he comes in close contact with a creature that has since never been identified. The officer is traveling at a low rate of speed when suddenly something huge dashes across his headlights. The strange figure is only visible for a moment, then it's gone. Many YouTubers suspect this to be a Russian Yeti. Others are sure that it's a man in a suit or even someone who is completely naked, though this theory is hard to believe because a person in Russia would probably freeze to death if they stood outside naked for very long. Look closely and you'll see that whatever it is, it's moving quite fast. It only takes the thing about 5 or 6 steps to fully get away, and I should mention that the snowbanks on both sides of the tracks appear to be very deep. An average sized person would be struggling way more to get over them. Zoom in and you'll see what looks to be white fur hanging off of its body. Also, it looks to be hunched over and its arms almost touch the ground. If this is a costume, it's very convincing. A doll that speaks is not mysterious, but a doll that speaks when it has no batteries certainly is. That's apparently exactly what this doll can do. If someone could please tell me what brand of doll this is, and also translate what is being said here, then maybe we can help solve this mystery. They examine the doll for a hidden battery compartment and ultimately find nothing. This spooky midnight sighting is quickly becoming known as the ghost boy under the stairs. It could simply be a bug walking across the camera, but what's weird is how it seems to stay confined to the area under the steps. Then at 15 seconds, it reaches the farthest corner and vanishes. Take a look again and tell me if you think this is real or special effects. Even the person who uploaded this video says they didn't believe in the supernatural until seeing this at their job. 2 days prior to this video, YouTuber The Series of Tubes house was broken into. Now he is riding around his neighborhood when he sees a suspicious person who looks out of place. Upon questioning, the man claims that he has lived in this neighborhood since 1992. The two have never met before, but somehow he knows exactly where this YouTuber lives.
Oh yeah, you guys are kind of in that little dark little corner area too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally...
The longer they talk, the less sense the stranger makes, especially when he randomly pulls out a huge crowbar without prompting and says this.
Yeah, I was laying on the sidewalk.
You found that?
Yeah, just laying around on the sidewalk, right? You know?
Yeah, I could.
The crowbar looks large enough to easily pry open a door or window and gain entry. I'm not sure what his intentions are. Maybe he really did find it laying around, or maybe he is up to no good. Tell me if you believe him when he says this next part, especially with all of the other things I've shown you.
Yeah, you can ask the cops. I'm a good guy. It's alright.
It's all good.
The series of tubes remains friendly enough throughout the conversation, but does mention that he has a firearm in his house that he doesn't want to use on anyone. The two part ways, at least for now. A YouTuber named Snakebit McGee makes a vlog in which he talks about 2 scary discoveries he made while exploring the desert.
And there's a hole here that just goes way down. I'll show you that. And then it gets kind of scary. I'm looking for a cave, and something about that cave just spooked me out of all the caves I've ever gone in.
He just found an abandoned mine, but what he really wants to find is an M-shaped cave that scared him before. His subscribers are interested and tell him he needs to go back and find the cave to make another video and maybe go exploring the abandoned mine too while he's at it. He agrees and goes out a second time to find the cave, but sadly never returns. His body is never found and nobody knows what happened to him. Watching this video while knowing he's still missing makes this even more eerie, especially this part.
I'll just show you. Down inside that hole, it goes way, way, way down there. Let me see if I can. That's pretty far.
It's scary to think that he's joking about something that might have seriously happened to him much later upon his second return. To this day, nobody knows what happened to him. 2 siblings go into their room after hearing a small, unrecognizable voice call to them. In their toy trunk, they discover a bizarre-looking doll that neither of them can remember putting in there. The doll remains silent until one of them goes to grab it.
It's really creepy.
They aren't sure what to make of the toy at this point, but look what happens when they have a discussion while still in its presence.
Look at its little skinny legs.
That thing is like,
I know.
disturbing.
It almost seems to respond to a comment about its legs by kicking twice and laughing. It's as if the toy knows what they are saying and is trying to play with their mind. Tell me whether or not you think that this could be an early warning sign of a poltergeist in their home. Claims of the Chinese Guanyin statue blinking inside of the Lingquan Temple are apparently real if you believe this video. Sometimes this blinking effect happens from shaking the camera, but at 42 seconds the phone is still and the statue still does it. I also hear temple bells, so this could have taken place during a ceremony. However, I'm pretty sure that this blinking is from a grainy video. The background looks to be moving in a similar way too. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.